Can you explain to us how digitalization helps SMEs break into global markets?
The main issue is internationalization of SMEs. So it's incredible.
It's more efficient.
Actually, this is not an easy subject. This is again a hard question to answer.
It's okay. Welcome back to another episode of the Digital Transformation Podcast by Tradenet. This is a podcast where we usually talk about digital transformation projects that are run by Tradenet. But today we have a very special guest joining us. She just led the COMCEC training at Tradenet, and I'm so lucky to have her with me. Thank you for sparing some time, Dr. Nergiz.
Thank you very much for having me.
First of all, I would like to ask you to give us a little bit of a background information about yourself. You can introduce yourself as well.
Sure. So I'm Nergiz Dinçer and I'm from Turkey, Ankara. I have my BA from mathematics in Turkey, and then I had my PhD in economics from Bilkent University. I spent 2 years in US in University of California, Berkeley for my postdoc research. And then I was working for government for 12 years. And after 12 years, I started to work for university. I'm working for TED University. I'm the chair of economics department, and at the same time, I'm the co-director of TED University Trade Research Center.
Thank you so much for your introduction. So, by now, our audience can hear how distinguished you are in your field, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with you.
Thank you very much.
For those unfamiliar, could you tell us a little bit about COMCEC and the role it plays with its member countries?
COMCEC is the Standing Committee for Economic and Commercial Cooperation of the OIC, in other words, Organization of Islamic Countries.
Okay.
And it's a multilateral cooperation. At the moment, there are 57 countries under COMCEC, and every year they come together and they discuss the issues and they make some decisions for these countries. And it is working since 1981, so pretty old.
Mhm.
And actually, I'm a consultant of COMCEC, and here at the moment, I'm giving a training on behalf of COMCEC.
Okay, thank you. So, since you recently conducted the COMCEC training program here, would you tell us what the main objective of the trainings were and briefly tell us the topics that were covered?
Sure. Here, the main issue is internationalization of SMEs. In the world, like more than 90% of the all companies are SMEs, small and medium enterprises. So their internationalization brings all the countries prosperity.
Mhm.
So if you want to grow,
Mhm.
if you have to increase the internationalization of SMEs, they would be exporting more
Mhm.
in order to, in other words.
Mhm.
First of all, what we did in the training is to make an introduction of SMEs,
Mhm.
SME definition,
Mhm.
and what would be the benefits of exporting SMEs, and what is the definition of exporting SMEs actually.
Mhm.
Then I introduced two case studies, Turkey and Malaysia.
Okay.
And we talked about what would be the recommendations for SMEs to make them, to engage them exporting.
Mhm.
And in the second day, it was more on the strategy, export strategy of the country. And we made a very nice exercise with the participants, and they wrote their own export strategy for Maldives.
Okay.
Actually, they presented it to us, and there were brilliant new ideas
Okay.
appeared. And then we talked about digitalisation. This is the digital area, and I know that what Tradenet is doing is more on digitalisation.
Yes.
So we try to explore what would be the benefits that SMEs get from digitalization, and would digitalization enable them to engage more in exporting? And today we worked more on the sustainability issue.
Okay.
So, like digitalization, sustainability is also a new area emerging, and that will be affecting international trade as a whole, and especially for SMEs. There are some challenges, but at the same time, opportunities.
A lot of opportunities. I'm sure it was a great
Hopefully.
training, and it's so great to hear that you got such new ideas from the work, from the people who participated, on how they can expand this export culture in the Maldives.
So they are all the government officials,
Yeah.
and there are brilliant young government officials here that will be, I'm sure, in the future play a important role for Maldives.
Yes.
So I can see that they have new ideas that would be applicable and that would be contributing to the exporting strategy of the country and for the SMEs in special.
One of the critical areas that was discussed today was digitalization. Can you explain to us how digitalization helps SMEs break into global markets?
Actually, this is not an easy subject.
Yeah.
First of all, when we say digitalization, what we mean?
Mm.
Actually, we talked about three distinct aspects. First, blockchains.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, AI,
Mm-hmm.
the usage of AI in international trade. And the third one is IoT. Actually, what we get as a result is that blockchain is very efficient,
Mm.
but it is very costly. And for both for countries and for SMEs, perhaps it may not be easy.
Sustainable, yeah.
Yeah, it may not be easy to adopt practices, blockchain practices. However, integrating AI to the international trade and the operations in customs
Mm-hmm.
and governments would be much easier. Actually, we have seen many examples from different countries how they contributed, how they used AI in their operations,
Mm-hmm.
and we discussed those with the audience, with the participants. And for example, single window is another opportunity
Yeah.
that you will be
Yeah.
starting in a few months, I
Yes,
guess.
in
They
it's
said
in the process. Yes.
this third quarter, they
Yes,
said
yes,
it will be fully implemented.
yes.
So I think it's very exciting, and the results will be really beneficial both
To the
other
economy,
countries
right?
and for the SMEs of the country.
In your work, have you experienced any international examples that used digitalization successfully to break into global markets that made an impact?
Um, Actually, we discussed some of the examples here during my training. Singapore is a very exciting example for the countries. They have integrated single window in their country, but and in customs they use it efficiently. Before that, it was more like 10 days to export and import
Mm-hmm.
in the country, and now it is 10 minutes.
Yeah,
So it's incredible.
it's more efficient.
Yeah, it is so efficient, so costless, so paperless,
Yeah.
seamless. I think Singapore would be a very good example. And the other country that we have discussed was South Korea,
Mm-hmm.
and they have also used digitization in their customs work, and it is good for both all the country and for SMEs in particular.
Definitely. I think what digitalization does mostly is it interconnects countries that are further apart from each other. And a country like Maldives definitely needs that leverage to reach out to global other markets and other audiences so we can expand our businesses. So, likely as what Singapore has done, when we streamline our trade processes with definitely the national single window, which we call is Tradian, it's going to give a lot of opportunities for importers and exporters to reach to a larger global audience. So I wanted to ask you, As a small country like Maldives, what challenges do you think Maldives faces as a country as they try to overcome globalization?
This is again a hard question to answer.
It's okay.
Okay, actually, of course, Maldives is a small open economy, but it's an island economy, so it's far away from the other countries. So this is the first challenge
Mhm.
for exporting, because in the export theory, distance is one of the important determinants. But now, because of digitization, at least you have e-commerce,
Mhm.
which would be helping you and helping your SMEs to export more. And as most of the economy, most of the production is done by SMEs, um, as you don't have the large firms, of course, it is more difficult to export. But if you can engage your SMEs more in exporting,
Mhm.
this means your future growth will be much higher compared to now, which means development. So
Definitely.
I can say that development in Maldives will be coming through the exporting of SMEs.
So before we wrap up, what advice would you give to the Maldivian small businesses?
Government has a lot to do to guide the SMEs. So, first of all, they can be mentors for SMEs.
Mm.
First of all, I mean, if you look at the subject from the SME side, we can say that um, first of all, they should be engaging more in exporting.
Mhm.
And for this, they can have guidance of government.
Mhm.
They provide lots of supports to SMEs,
Definitely.
like many other um, countries. And first of all, they should reach out their own countries' resources
Mhm.
and support,
Mhm.
and they need to understand those. Second, digital literacy is important, as well as financial literacy,
Definitely.
um, because now we are in the digitization era, and e-commerce platforms are important.
Mhm.
And third, it is not only local or national supports available, but at the same time, there are international supports available for SMEs.
Mhm.
Like there's International Trade Center, which is a um, entity driven by WTO and UNCTAD,
Mhm.
and they can use their guidance as well and the resources provided by them as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for these insights, and it's been a pleasure for me to have this conversation with you since you're so experienced in the field. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and I hope you had a wonderful time visiting Maldives and training our work groups. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
No worries. Thank you for watching our today's episode. We'll be publishing this on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you.